Hello, welcome back to my haunted library. It's Regina, and I just wanted to let you know I have some friends here today. We've got Lucky, she's being pretty good. These two are getting along so much better. And Lily, of course, the queen. They are like good friends now. And this morning, where Lucky, when she first learned how to go down the stairs, Lily goes first. I know this is fascinating, but maybe dog owners will appreciate it. But Lily would always go down first, and then, Lucky would go down first and then wait at the bottom of the stairs for Lily, who kind of, because she's getting a little older, kind of hopped down slowly. And then as soon as she got to the end, Lucky would pounce. Well, today, Lily was like, no, you go first, and let Lucky go. So I feel like they're finding their way with each other. Anyway, I'm here today just for a quick Horror Mayhem wrap-up. So I want to thank the Bookish Bryants for including me in this fun reading challenge. I had a blast. It was great. I chose some books I normally wouldn't read, and that's always good to just kind of stretch one's horizons a little bit. So I'm going to just go over what I read and let you know what I think. So for week one, I read, and I already did I talked about some of these, so I'm not going to spend too much time with it. So week one, for the supernatural being creatures, including cryptids, I read The Conqueror Worms by Brian Keene, and really, really enjoyed that one. I think I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. I have quite a few Brian Keene books on my shelves. I haven't read that many, though, so it was nice to just tap into an author who I know is very popular currently in the horror genre and see why. And I really did enjoy it. It was very entertaining and kind of exactly what I was looking for. Okay, she just jumped off the couch. So then next was week 2, Gothic horror. And that was like my top read, and that was Carmilla by Sheridan Fanu. I did a reading vlog for that one and another reading vlogs for this whole series. So what I'm going to do, they're on my Patreon page, but I'm just going to link them at the end, like actually put them on the end of this video, is what I mean by linking. I'm a little tired. I've been working on my new book, so I'm a little in that headspace. I'm almost done, but I'll tell you about that one soon. But yeah, so I'll put that at the end if you want to stick around and watch my vlogs, is what I'm trying to say. I absolutely love Carmilla. It was one of like the best books of the year for me, and it really made me want to get back into reading classic Gothic horror. I also read The Haunted Baronet by Fanu, and that wasn't as good as Carmilla, but it was interesting. I'm glad I read it. So yeah, that was a highlight of this Horror Mayhem for me. The next week was Cosmic Horror, the third week, which I actually finished 2 novels. Well, sort of. Well, one is From the Rim of Morning by William Sloane. I've mentioned this before, and I always have to look up the title, To Walk the Night. I might not remember the title, but I'll remember the story. This was such a great story, guys. I highly recommend it. I was blown away, total surprise. And even though I kind of figured out maybe what the reveal was or the twist, only because it's been done so many times. I mean, when this was written in the 30s, it might have been a newer idea, but maybe other people have copied this story. But even though I kind of guessed it, I still loved it. And it's all about two friends and what happens when a femme fatale gets mixed in between two friends. And I always love that dynamic. It's one of my favorite story dynamics. Yes, it's been done, perhaps done to death a bit, but it's classic, and that's why, because it works. So the second book I read, or attempted to read, I should say, I read quite a bit of it, for the Cosmic Horror week, was Experimental Film by Gemma Files. I had heard a lot about this book from some of my booktube friends, and it came highly recommended. So I bought this a while back, and it just kind of sat on my shelf, and I thought, oh, I think this will fit. Well, guys, I didn't like this book very much. It's about 300 pages. I read 200 pages, and I'm like, sorry, Lucky is panting. Of a 300-page book, I read 200 pages, and I just could not keep going. I didn't like the story. I didn't like the protagonist. It's about this, and it felt like, I mean, no shade on the author because she's a talented writer. I could tell that from her prose, like very, very smart. But I felt like it was such a specific hook that it's all about Canadian film and grant writing and kind of the competitive world of grant writing for film projects, which was very specific. Sometimes something that specific in a story can really work. For me, I was kind of asking myself, where are the stakes? And the protagonist, I found her to be just like really, like, I love a flawed protagonist, but I felt like maybe the author didn't know this was a flawed protagonist. I don't know. I don't want to get too negative about it. It really was like forcing myself to read it. And I remarked to my husband, I'm like, I can't stand this book. And he said, why are you reading it? And I'm like, okay, I'm going to put this book down, which I did. And, hey, it doesn't mean it's a bad book. It does have tons and tons of 5-star reviews. It also has some 1-star reviews. So I feel like I gave it 2 because I did think that the writer was very talented and, like I said, very smart. It was just the story that really just didn't grab me. But obviously some people really like it. So I'm just going to donate this book because I don't hang on to books that I don't like. So I don't know. That's just how I felt about it. Might have been just I wasn't in the mood to read it. I don't know. It happens sometimes. Anyway, I'm going to stop apologizing because I don't have to like every book I pick up. And for week 4, I just read one short story for folk horror because I was very busy getting my new release together. It's almost done. I'm going to give it one more editing pass, and I'll do a video on that when it comes out. I'll wait for that, which will be in a few days. But I did read Children of the Corn by Stephen King. It's in Night Shift, and let's see when this came out. This is the second Night Shift I bought because you may recall Lucky ate my last one. So the collection, this edition came out in 78. It was originally published in 76. And Children of the Corn came out it was first appeared in Penthouse, 1977. I remember this from when I was a kid because my dad had quite a few Playboy's Penthouse and even hidden in his room, and we always found it. But we didn't just look at the pictures, which I confess we did. We also read the short stories, and the short stories were great, as Children of the Corn proves. What a great classic Stephen King. Now, of course, I read this, I probably read it in Penthouse, but I had read it also and, of course, seen the movie. I just yelled at Lucky for it. Sounded like she started chewing on something, and she hid under the sofa, so I have to pull her out. But anyway, there she is. I got her. You're staying with me. No chewing my Stephen King. This was classic Stephen King horror. And even though I knew the story basically, I'd seen the movie a few times, I always loved Malachi. He was like my favorite character. What the man, I forget his name, the couple, what he sees in the clearing in the cornfield scared me to death. It still scared me. It was so good. I'm going to continue reading the stories in this book. So that was Horror Mayhem. Definitely had a great time. I think the Bookish Bryants, sorry, I've got dogs making all kinds of sounds. I think the Bookish Bryants are doing another one, like a reading challenge for June. I think it's Westerns. I don't know, check out their channel. I like reading widely. I like reading all types of stuff, including nonfiction. I think for the summer, though, I'm just going to give myself permission to beach read and to read light fiction or whatever the heck I feel like, because that's what summer reading is to me. So after experimental film and not liking that book, and I do feel bad about it, I just had to grab something that I knew I liked just as a palate cleanser, and I just whipped off a McNally book. This is McNally's Secret by Lawrence Sanders. This is the first of the McNally series. This is like my favorite detective series. I have all of them, and I think I'm just going to read them again this summer. Like, this was so refreshing. I also wanted to mention that I did finish a book that I really enjoyed, and that is Mina and the Undead by Amy McCall. Amy has a YouTube channel, and I will link that below. She sent this to me with like some wonderful promotional materials that I've got to get this somewhere where it won't get crushed. Anyway, I read this as a buddy read with Alex, the bookubus, last week, and we had a great time with our buddy read, and I loved this book. So Mina is a young woman from England who goes to live with her sister in New Orleans, which of course is a great city, especially for vampire stories. And this takes place in the mid-90s, so it has a lot of Anne Rice references, and they are part of this working at this old like haunted mansion where they're actors in a haunted mansion, but there are some real body counts that start showing up, and there's a serial killer on the loose, and Mina and her sister and her friends kind of get caught up in it. It's a YA story, but I think anyone would enjoy it. It's really fast-paced and tons of fun. So let me know if you participated in Horror Mayhem. Did you have fun doing it? And let me know what you read in the comments below. I would love to hear your thoughts. So stick around for my blogs at the end of this video, and I will see you next time in my haunted library. Bye! Hello. It is the first day of, well, it's actually the second day of May, but it's the first day for me to do a Horror Mayhem reading vlog. I'm trying to position this camera so my gray roots don't show. I am in desperate need of a hairdresser appointment. And it is a very gray day for May. Thus my raincoat, it has a sort of like, it's been raining off and on. But anyway, I'm starting my, is it a read-along? Readathon? I don't know. I'm starting Horror Mayhem with this book, which is probably in reverse. But this is Brian Keene's The Conqueror Worms. I've seen a lot of worms lately because of the weather, and I don't like it when they crawl up out of the ground when I'm gardening. So I'm looking forward to exploring that emotion. I don't know what you call it. So I'm going to do something a little different today. I'm actually going to head into my favorite coffee shop. I don't know if you can see it back here. I never read in a coffee shop. I never read in public places except for public libraries. My library's been closed for like 3 years. It's really annoying. It's been closed for, well, it closed during COVID, and then they've just been renovating it. So I'm looking forward to that opening again soon. But I'm going to go in and actually attempt to drink a little coffee and read my book by Brian Keene. And then I'll check in and let you know what I think so far. Okay, bye.
I like your style.
Oh, thank you.
The skirt on the trench coat.
That's really sweet. I got sneakers on too.
Yes.
Thank you. Oh, that was nice.
She's a travel nurse, and she's coming back from Vermont.
Hi.
Hi, Gina.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. All right, here I go. Okay, so I lasted about 5 minutes in the coffee shop. The latte I had was lovely and delicious, but I don't know, it was too much music going on, too much distraction. I just felt not self-conscious. I just couldn't really get into the book, and I think it's important to find places that are conducive to concentration. So before I just give in and read in my usual spot, which is on my couch or at my library, I'm going to try to read in this beautiful park. And I'm going to, I can't swim, so I have to walk around. Well, I mean, I can swim, but I'm not going to swim in that today. And I'm going to try to sit in that little gazebo over there. It looks pretty. I don't know how comfortable it's going to be, but I'm going to see if I can read in that setting. Oh my gosh, look at this bird. See if I can zoom in. It doesn't look that comfortable, but I'm going to sit here in this beautiful spot and read Conqueror Worms and report back. Okay, well, that was really nice. And since I started reading, the sun came out, as you can see. I think that bird was a heron. It just kind of came to me as I sat here. But yeah, the storm clouds are gone, and it's a beautiful day. And I read the first chapter of the book, and it's really good so far. Okay, so I kept reading. I'm at my studio getting some sunlight coming in so I can read. And I read up to chapter 3, and I'm already really pulled into the story. And I'm really upset because a dog died. A dog and her puppies. And she was whimpering, and I'm really sad right now. So this book has definitely pulled me in emotionally, and I really hope that our elderly protagonist, who's like in his 80s, a World War II vet, I really hope he doesn't die. I can't handle it. I was going to try to go to like 100 pages a day, but I'm going to stop here because I think it's a good place to stop, and I'm a little sleepy. Yeah, it was a great reading day, and I'm really enjoying Brian Keene's storytelling abilities. I think I've read a couple other books of his. I know I've read at least 2, maybe 3. Very impressed with this book, and it's kind of like a buddy film, or a buddy story so far. Our protagonist, Teddy, has met up with a buddy of his on the mountain. It all takes place in a mountain in West Virginia, which is high enough in elevation so that the rain is basically wiped out the entire planet. There's like an idea of global warming, wiping out most of the planet except for anything that's elevated. So this mountain in West Virginia is high enough where these people have survived. So far we've met 3 old coots who are still alive. And so I like this. The other stories from Brian Keene I remembered took place in kind of rural Pennsylvania. So this kind of has that feel too. And I love the characters. Already it's kind of like a slow build with the worms showing up. We've already seen evidence of the worms. So I don't know what to expect. What I hope doesn't happen is that like they're killed off. I'm kind of want to stay with Teddy at least. So we'll see what happens. But it was a good reading day. It's fun to read. And I don't know what's happening. This looks super... The lighting in here is really weird. But anyway, I'm going to sign off here and pick it up tomorrow. Thanks for joining me. Hello. Here's Lucky taking a little snooze on my lap. And here's Lily. And here's my little cabin. Hi, Lily. It's my little cabin. It's a little bit messy that I rent every year. Pretty rustic. Not the most the most charming decor. Oh my gosh, I remember these back in the 80s, this type of furniture that was made out of like crates or something. Anyway, here we are, very cozy. I'm wrapped in a blanket because it's a little chilly today, but I just finished Brian Keene's The Conqueror Worms. Really enjoyed it, very entertaining, a good monster story. I'm going to give this one a solid 4 stars. This was tons of fun. For Horror Mayhem, for week 1, I'm a little behind just because I've been visiting family and stuff. My sisters have come to stay with me for a little bit, but today I have a few hours by myself, so I'm getting caught up on my reading. This is next for Horror Mayhem, Carmilla, and I'm going to be reading this for Gothic. Oh, it's a little blurry. Carmilla and the Haunted Baronet by Sheridan Fanu. 2 haunting Gothic tales of vampires and vengeance. So that sounds awesome. I love this cover too with the bat. So I'm going to start reading this. So why don't we, before I do that, take a little tour of where I'm staying. Oh gosh, this couch is like a trap. Okay, so It's so much nicer outside. I think I'm going to find a spot to read outside. It's warmer. This is right on the Lake Nockamixon, which is in Upper Bucks County, Pennsylvania. A man-made lake. It's huge. We had 2 owls hanging out this morning. I wonder if I can still see them. I took some pictures of them. But right through those trees is the beautiful lake. I'll be down there later. I don't know if you can see. There he is. You can hear him. I don't want to disturb him too much. And this, we've got one here perched. Where'd he go? Oh, there he is. So I've been having a great time so far. My dogs will not leave me alone. Just wanted to check in and get some reading done. I'm squinting because it's very bright out here, but I will be back and give you my first impression of a book I've been meaning to read for years, and that is Carmilla. All right, I'll be back soon. Okay, I read the first several chapters of Carmilla. The dogs are definitely tired. We took 2 big hikes yesterday with them. I'm absolutely loving the book so far. I have so many thoughts, and I'm going to take a little break for lunch and have some of my homemade vegetable soup, and then I'll report back when I have a little fortification. Anyway, I'm loving Carmilla so much. This is my book. This is my book. It took me a while to get a little bit adjusted to the style, the Victorian style, after reading my last book, Brian Keene. Totally different style, but I'm so into it. So I'm going to have a little lunch and then I'll report back. I love how old Carmilla is. She's a 200-year-old vampire. And I've just gotten to the point where the protagonist has been bitten again. She's bitten. The scene when she's 6 years old and Carmilla comes and bites her, that's pretty scary. And then later, 10 years later, she's in her teens when Carmilla shows up. It's like these people just kind of dump her there. Very interesting. I'm trying to capture this little butterfly that came to visit. Where'd he go? Oh, I don't know if you can see him flying around. Beautiful yellow butterfly. Hello. Hello. I've seen such pretty wildlife since I've been here. It's so nice. I'm just taking a break from reading Carmilla. I absolutely love this, and I'm probably going to immediately reread it when I'm done. Harry, look. Hello, beautiful. Good morning. I just finished Carmilla. I just had my last night at the cabin. I'm leaving this morning, and I really hate to see it go, but I really had a wonderful time. My sisters were here for a visit. My Aunt Rosie, 97 years old, she'll be 98 in August, drove herself over here to visit. She lives a few miles down the road. She's an incredible inspiration. It was a great, great time, and it was great to be around family. It was also great to spend some time by myself reading. So I got up early because my sister had to go to catch a really early flight, and I finished Carmilla with my breakfast of cookies my Aunt Rosie brought, grapes and coffee. And just as I finished the book, I heard the birds outside, this really ugly looking drake. But look, the sun came out, sort of. Anyway, dawn has broken. Carmilla has gone back to her lair, and I absolutely loved the story. And, well, like I said, look at my room. Isn't this great? These guys kill me. I would absolutely read it again. I'm going to read it probably immediately. Gosh, it was good. And I can see so many of the influences that Bram Stoker used and other vampire stories, how much they got the lore from this. And there were some new things that I'll talk about from this story. So many thoughts, but I want to read it again, take some notes, read some criticisms of it before I do my video. But all in all, I had a wonderful time in my cabin. I'm not going to show my face because I literally just woke up and you don't want to see that. I probably look like one of Carmilla's victims. But anyway, I will be back with you soon. I hope you're well and love you all. Bye.